Hello, welcome, Allison.
Hi, thank you for having me, Melissa.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So, everyone who's watching today, we're going to be talking about how to create a six-figure email funnel to bring you in more online sales. Such an exciting topic. And Allison is an email funnel strategist. So, she is the expert who's going to be giving us all of her wisdom. So, just a quick introduction to who Allison Hardy is. She is a lead generation and email funnel strategist, and she helps heart-centered coaches create a six-figure passive income stream without being salesy. And Allison is the creator of the Six Figure Secrets podcast, a Huffington Post contributor, has been featured in YFS magazine, and was named one of Washington, D.C.'s most influential professionals under 40. So amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself besides the bio I just read.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Melissa. This is super fun. Fun fact, I've actually never done an YouTube live before. So this is my first time, which is exciting. Um,
Yay.
like Melissa said, I'm an email funnel and lead generation strategist. And I got started in online business because I got laid off from my 9 to 5 when I was 6 months pregnant with my now 9-year-old.
Wow.
I was teaching college level art. I had the fancy degrees. I had a fancy job. I had all the things figured out at the right age of 20. How old was I? I was 25 when I got the job, but I was 28 when this happened. And it came out of the blue. Like I was not expecting it at all. And I realized that a lot of my self-worth was kind of defined by that job. And so when it was taken away, I was like, whoa, like that was a whole thing. And it wasn't just, a job anymore. It was how I had defined myself. So started my business 6 months pregnant with my first, and I was able to replace my 9 to 5 income in those 3 months before he was born. But I did it in all the wrong ways. I was like staying up all night, and I went into preterm labor 2 times because
Oh,
I wasn't drinking enough water. Like I sacrificed everything for the business. And so I got really invested after that experience on automation and email funnels and setting up a business that actually allows you to like take some time off and like nothing really major goes wrong. We were talking earlier about like getting sick and how we're both kind of catching up. But like at the end of the day, having a business that actually does the thing that it needs to do, which is sell your stuff the income so that you can continue to help people.
yeah, I
That's how
love
I
that.
got
And
here.
yeah, I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing. I think a lot of people watching will feel or have felt similar ways that their job is kind of what they define themselves at. Or I know a lot of people have been thrown into entrepreneurship kind of by accident or by like
Yep.
leaving their jobs or getting laid off or because of COVID or all of these different things. So it's great to hear your journey of what happened and kind of where you are today and how you've set up your business to really be that kind of autopilot. And that word is kind of, I use it a lot in my business too, but that autopilot sales machine
Yeah.
that really can allow you to take time off without feeling like you're strapped to your laptop, because that's no way to run a business, right? We want to create a business that works around our lives instead of the other way around. So,
Absolutely.
what kind of brought you to emails? Is that kind of where you started your business? I know you said you were interested in it, but is that where you started?
Not at all. I started my business. I've had many iterations of business. My very first online business was a personal training business. Which seems so random, but I was always a really active kid. I had a scholarship for track at college, and I like randomly got a personal training certification on a weekend one time, and I was like, I'm going to do this for a little while. So that was my first like actual business. But I really got invested in email funnels and automation and like automated lead gen after having multiple businesses. I kept like shifting and adjusting my business to try to find, what actually worked. And everything worked. Everything was fine with everything, but it wasn't great, right? I had to show up and I was trading dollars for hours, or I had like an hourly rate. And if I didn't work, my business didn't work. And so after like trying a bunch of iterations of the business to like find when it actually worked, I finally was like, it's not the actual business. It's how I'm running the business. It's me. It's like what systems I have in place. So that really informed where we are now with email funnels and lead generation was all those different experiences of trying to find the next right thing. And it really wasn't, there was no solution. It's not like any business was better or worse. It was that I was running them in different ways that needed to change.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so when you say kind of the systems and things you have in place, and I know your latest offer is all about burning the live launch. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what your nurture sequence kind of looks like.
Yeah, yeah. So when someone opts into a lead magnet, so they say, yes, I want to download that, whatever you call it, that freebie, that opt-in, that freemium, that lead magnet, right? The thing that they exchange for their email address and their name, that starts the email funnel, right? So upon that trigger of them putting their name and email address into your form to get the free thing, they then are entered into an email funnel. And the first part of an email funnel is a nurture sequence. And so what I teach and what I have implemented in my business is one of two approaches. So I'll talk about the two approaches. In the nurture sequence, it's your job to overcome objections and to get your lead to either think about things differently or to do things differently. Because when they can think about something differently, they act differently. And when they can do differently, again, they act differently. So that's really the goal here, is either to get them a quick win or to get them to think about their pain point in a different way. So inside the nurture sequence, what I would recommend you do is, as you start to debunk these objections, you think, can I go deeper on the concepts discussed in the lead magnet? What's a different way I can basically say the same thing that helps your lead to either, again, do differently or think differently? So what do they need to know? So let's say you have like a 4-step lead magnet. You can create emails that cover each one of those steps, and you just go deeper into those steps inside of those emails. The other way you can think about it is, okay, you have the 4-step process with the lead magnet. What do they need to do after that? So what are their next steps? What's the journey you can bring someone on inside of that nurture sequence to help them to continue to do this work or to continue to think about this process differently? And remember, you're eventually going to pitch them something. So get them to the space where the pitch makes sense. Like it's the next logical step for them. So especially in like the journey method of the nurture sequence, if you're bringing them on a step-by-step process, if their next step, like get them to the place where the next step is to enroll in your course, your program, your membership, whatever the thing is that you have, that's going to really help to optimize your sales inside of your funnel.
I love that. I like that
That makes sense.
yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I think it's interesting because since I started my business, everyone taught me nurture sequences as your hero story or your origin story. And so for the longest time in my business, that's what my opt-in was. It was, you download your checklist, your lead magnet, or, your thing, and then you gave it to them in an email. And then it was, here's what I'm all about kind of thing, hero journey. And it's interesting to hear your perspective, because when I hear it explained so clearly, like you just did, I'm like, yeah, well, that makes way more sense than a hero's journey. But I'm curious what your take on that whole approach is.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the hero's journey, because your lead, the person inside your funnel, they came across you on the internet at some point. They're trying to find the solution to their pain point. So they found your lead magnet and they're like, oh, I think this might help me. And they got it. And it's not everything, right? Your program is everything, but it got them a quick win. So when you can get someone a quick win, or you can start to get them to think about something differently, that's when they start to make a change. That's when they start to like move forward. But anytime you solve a pain point or you get someone to think about something differently, something else emerges. And so it's your job in the nurture sequence. That's where I said like the debunking of the objections, to address that and say like, hey, I know you're probably thinking this. Hey, I know this is what you're experiencing. Because like, as awesome as you are, you're great. You started a business. I firmly believe that like no one who started a business is bad at what they do. You started a business because you're really good at this thing, but you're really good at this thing because it solves a pain point. And if your lead is looking to solve a pain point, learning about your credentials and your hero story isn't effective in doing that. if you're going to help someone, help them. So like talking about the pain point and helping them to understand that like, hey, I actually do get it. Have you tried this? Have you thought about this? Think about it like this. Come at it from a different perspective. If you can do that in the nurture sequence, it helps to start to serve your audience and give them a bit of a taste of what it's like to work with you. And so you're inadvertently talking about how awesome you are because you're helping them, but you're not directly being like, well, this is why I'm so great. And this is my journey. Because they're like, it's all about them. It's not about you.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that you teach it that way, because even when I switched over to more of that model, I noticed a bigger difference in my conversion rates, even just in email itself. Because you're right, when someone first finds out about your lead magnet or your thing, they don't really care about you. You're nobody to them at that point in time. So
Yeah.
I love that that's kind of where you go. When you're in your nurture sequence, how many emails do you kind of teach is like the sweet spot? I know it's probably dependent, but
It does. Yes. And I hate the answer because I always say it depends, but it's true. It
yeah.
does. So the things you need to consider are what are like the steps that your lead needs to go through in order to know that your program is the right fit for them. So if you can, like 5 steps, like that's kind of like, I think the magic number. My nurture sequence is 3 steps or 3 emails, 3 steps, because my people are generally like super motivated to solve the pain point. Like they are ready like yesterday to see results. So they're really highly motivated. So knowing your ideal client can be really helpful here. So however many steps it takes to get them to the point where they need to say yes to the program. I would not make it like 10 steps. I would argue you're probably going to lose people. But the way you can really determine is by looking at the data. So let's say you do set up a 5 email nurture sequence. If you notice a big drop off, like it's gonna drop off. That's gonna happen. But if you have like a 50% open rate on email number 1, 45% open rate on email number 2, 18% open rate on email number 3, like that's something to pay attention to. So looking at your data and knowing your numbers and then adjusting based on what you're seeing. So you could be emailing like too frequently, like it's just too much information. You could be emailing not frequent enough, so you're not staying top of mind. There's a bunch of factors that go into it, but try 5, start there, look at the data, see what happens, and then tweak it and adjust accordingly.
Yes, looking at the data is so important, because yeah, you're never going to know. And sometimes you see those unsubscribes come through and it freaks you out. But if you look at the data, then you can understand where they're unsubscribing from and you can make tweaks from there. So I really, really appreciate that tip. And what would you say is kind of like, so say someone has multiple lead magnets. Do you think that creating multiple email funnels is good, or is the same email funnel for different lead magnets okay?
Well, so your lead magnet is generally pain point based, right? So you're helping your lead solve a specific pain point. So if all of your programs solve that specific pain point and maybe they're just like different levels of support basically, then yeah, that's appropriate. But if you have different programs that solve different problems, you probably should not have the same lead magnet for all of them. So yeah, it might make sense to have separate lead magnets. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So when you say the 6-figure email funnel, is this what you're talking about, or is it kind of a little bit different of a strategy?
No, that's the strategy. That's like the big picture behind it, because like you can, yeah, that's the big picture strategy, because you can have, the thing that is also really important with email funnels is the traffic, right? So you can have 5 people going through funnel a day, or you can have 100 people going through your funnel a day. When your funnel works and it creates results, it becomes really easy to get more. Doesn't become easy to get people into it. It becomes apparent as to what needs to happen to get you those results. So if you're converting it like 10%, so 10% of the people that go into your funnel buy, it becomes really easy to figure out, okay, these are the numbers that I need. And so then it's your job to really work towards getting those numbers so that you can hit that goal. So one of the reasons why I like funnels so much is that it really removes the emotion from them, from your launch process, and makes your business really, really dependable. So, okay, I'm going to spend maybe this amount of money on ads, wherever you do ads. I'm going to get this amount of leads, and I can predict pretty easily that this is the amount of sales I'm going to see come through. So if you want more sales, you increase that traffic to the ad, and then everything kind of falls into place. So your funnel can be awesome and amazing, but it will produce you results when you have the right amount of traffic going through it. So that's the other side of things, is the lead generation aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, you're on this channel right now talking about this, because that's what I do is, creating
Exactly.
that lead machine on the front end that can really bring in that organic traffic. But then once you get that lead and you've captured them through YouTube, how are you going to close them? And that's where the email funnel comes in, right? And I think that's such an
Absolutely.
important part to have, because at the end of the day, we need to convert that traffic into money.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, the traffic's completely useless. So like having an email funnel on the back end of this traffic source, this lead generation source, is really, really important, because otherwise your people just sit there, you're not really doing anything with them. And I hear a lot of people say a lot of times, well, my email list needs to be at a certain size before I can start selling. And that's just like not a truth. That's a complete and total falsehood. Like that's not the case at all. You can start to sell to these leads that you're generating through traffic sources like YouTube through an email funnel. What if you were to have one person buy your thing a day? That's really freaking awesome. And so you can do that.
Exactly.
You can generally you can put some paid advertising behind it, maybe get 2 sales a day, 3 sales a day, and it starts to really snowball. And that's when you can start to see those really big results coming in.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because it's true. It's kind of like when people say, "Oh, how many subscribers do I need on YouTube to be successful?" And I'm like, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You're growing an audience, and I think the same thing with your email list is that, yeah, a big list is great, but how engaged is that list also? How many
Yeah.
people of that list are actually purchasing from you is more important than having 10,000 people on your list that aren't buying, right? I would much rather
Absolutely.
have 500 people on my list that are buying. Right. So again, looking at that data over the drama of the perceived numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Numbers are cool and great and awesome, but like quality is also, I would argue, more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So when it comes to building out this funnel, what is like your tech stack of choice?
Yeah, this is always everybody's question. You can do
Yeah.
this with anything, any email CRM that allows for funnels. Not all of them do. So you need email CRM. I would argue, this is just my personal opinion here, so take it or leave it. If you pay for an email software, it's probably going to deliver better than like a free one. So if you're on like a free plan, and there's some free softwares out there, I would get rid of that software and maybe go over to one that's paid. You can do like ConvertKit's like $25 a month for like the very base one. So it doesn't have to cost you a ton of money. So a paid email CRM software that you can use. You will need a sales page. So wherever you host your sales page, and then you'll need a way to take money. So a way to check out. That's like the very basic tech stack that you would need. You could use deadline funnels. So what deadline funnels does is it creates like a launch within your funnel, which essentially is what a funnel is, but it has timers that'll sync based on like timelines and when people entered into certain parts of your funnel. So you can have like timers in there that actually expire sales pages. So you have true scarcity in there, and some people really like that. They feel really integrity with that. So that's another option you could have if that's something that you wanted to explore.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't played around with deadline funnels, but I've seen it, and it's really
Mhm.
cool to see that countdown happen. Because it's more
Yeah.
effective than I think just text, like, oh, it ends tomorrow or it ends on Friday, to see that visual is really cool. So
Yeah, it's really cool because you can evergreen it or it can be live. So if you're doing like a live launch, you can set like a hard deadline. Or if it's more like an evergreen, and let's say your pitch sequence is 3 days long, when someone enters into your pitch sequence, maybe they get like a tag that says pitch sequence. When that tag happens, that's the trigger to start the funnel or the countdown. So it can be a really great way, especially with evergreen funnels, to really express that scarcity with an evergreen option.
yeah, for sure. And it's funny you mentioned tags, because that was actually segueing into my next question for you is, what are your view on tags? Do you think that you should be using a tag-based system for your emails? Because I know some of them aren't. Like I think Flowdesk is one of them that isn't tag-based. I might be wrong, but I know I've gotten that question before from people.
Yeah, tags I think are super important. I like to use them to help understand where certain people come in. So like if I'm running, let's say if I'm running Facebook or Instagram ads, when someone comes in through a Facebook or Instagram ad, they get a tag that says they came in through a Facebook and Instagram ad, and they also get a tag for the lead magnet. So I know, okay, if I segment it and I say, find all the people who have the lead magnet tag and the Facebook and Instagram tag, and then of those people, how many of them bought, that tells me, okay, that was working. If some people have like that lead magnet tag and then maybe like a collaboration tag, that's how they came in. I can then segment those people and I can say, okay, how many of these people bought? So it helps me to see where my efforts should be spent, like what time, how much time I should spend doing certain things, but also just helps to see like where people are. So like I actually have tags for every part of the funnel. And that just helps me see, okay, 40 people are in this part or 100 people are in this part. So that I can kind of predict like when I should start to see sales so that I can track that and make sure that I'm like actually understanding what's going on inside of that funnel. So I'm a huge fan of tags. I think they're super, super helpful. And I think that everybody should use them.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think it's people feel overwhelmed by tags. I know I did when I first started
Yeah.
in my business, and I did very, very kind of threw them out there, and I didn't really have a strategy for them until I understood how they worked. And then, like you said, it's such an amazing way to track where people are. What are they doing? What did they download? What do they click on? Like all that data can make your sales and your marketing moving forward so much more predictable and so much easier to know what resonated with people and what didn't. So I think
Yeah.
it's a really important part of this strategy that people need to kind of almost get the first step on organizing their systems with tags.
Absolutely. Yep. I 100% agree.
Yeah, awesome. Well, can you tell us a little bit more about what you have to offer for anyone who's listening and is like, oh my gosh, I need an email funnel ASAP?
Yeah. So I just launched a brand new membership. It's called the Funnel of the Month Club. And every month you get a new email funnel delivered to your inbox. They are buildable, which is really cool. So we're not creating just like this linear funnel that they go through once and then they're done. Every month you get a new part of the funnel and you're going to tack it on to the other part. So in your very first month, you'll get a pitch sequence. In your second month, you'll get a nurture sequence. So nurture sequence goes before the pitch sequence. But then you also get like a re-engagement sequence, a click sequence, a flash sale sequence. Like you're gonna get all these different sequences that you can put together. So you have this kind of beautiful email funnel marketing ecosystem that moves people through funnels. And so, yeah, it's brand new. And I would love to offer your audience, if they're interested, a trial. So you can get in for the first month for $7. You can see if you like it. If you don't, you can get out, easy peasy. But if you stay in, you'll be in the membership for the first month for $7. And then you'll roll up to the full membership. And every single month, you'll get that new funnel delivered to your portal that will help you to sell your course and your membership on autopilot.
Amazing. I love that. I love the membership thought process and how it almost helps people take it like one step at a time instead of feeling like they need to build the whole thing out all at once. It's like you do this thing one month and then do this next thing the next month. What a great concept. So yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I will put the link for that free trial below this video for anyone who's watching and wants to take advantage of that awesome offer.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I know you have a freebie for us as well. So it's the $80,000 email template. So I will make
Yeah.
sure to throw that below this video for everyone as well.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so, so much for being here and all of this amazing wisdom. I can't wait to see all of people's email funnels that they create. It's going to be so great. So thank you again so much.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye.